You've been laid off, you lost your income, or you just want to create that more secure future for you and your family, and you want to know two things: what to do and what I've applied and what has worked. Then stick around and watch this video. Hi everyone, my name is Jacques Snyman, and I make videos to help you create a more secure future for your family and for you. Okay, in video number 9, I shared with you a critical few steps that I suggest that you do once you get the news that your job is redundant, or you got laid off, or your project ended, or whatever the case might be. Bottom line is your income dried up. The very first step I suggested is to just breathe, right? The second step I suggested is to do work on your mindset, and I'll give you feedback on all of these in a minute. The third thing is I suggested that you define where you are, and that specifically is with a reference to what's your financial situation, what does your network look like, what are your options, and then how can you define a short-term action plan to do what needs to be done in order to get back in the saddle if you want. Then the fourth thing I suggested is tell everyone, tell the family, tell your friends, tell acquaintances, tell your network specifically that you're back in the market, right? The fifth thing I suggested is that if you can, claim from a unemployment insurance fund or from some insurance that you've bought or whatever the case might be. The sixth thing I suggested is update your resume and your CV, which is pretty obvious. And then the last thing, the seventh thing I suggested is look after yourself. Right, those are the 7 things I suggested. So let me give you some feedback. I started doing breathing, if you want, in brackets. That has worked very well for me. That also relates to the very last thing I suggested, and that is just look after yourself. So breathing for me has worked very, very well. The very first impact in terms of when you get the news that your income has dried up could also be that of shock, disillusionment, disappointment, obviously, anger, frustration, all sorts of emotions like that. Breathing then helps. So just take a deep breath. That was the first step, and that works. The second thing I suggested is work on your mindset. I've been doing that consistently ever since I got the news, and I'll give you the feedback just now. But the mindset has worked very well for me. Defining where you are is the next step. So figure out what your finances look like, what your outgoing finances are, in other words, what your expenses are, what your access to resources or finances is. So just define that for yourself and see how much runway have you got before you kind of run out and you've got to get a job. So that was the third thing. Do that. I did that and it worked well for me. Telling everyone, I put a little banner on LinkedIn. I phoned everybody in my network. I told family, friends, acquaintances that I'm back in the market. So that has also worked well for me. The fifth thing I suggested was to claim from an insurance fund. I could not do that, so I didn't do that. I just passed up on that one. Obviously, I updated my resume and I used that as a tool, and then I started looking after myself. Now, in terms of looking after myself, admittedly, I did not do that well. I'm not sleeping enough. I'm spending way too many hours on doing the things that I believe I should be doing, right? And that has not worked for me. So please take it from me. Do get proper sleep. Make sure that you eat healthy. Make sure that you do get exercise, and make sure that you just in general look after yourself. You are your own, most valuable asset. So if you fall over, then you got a major problem. I did, however, start doing the mindset work, and that has worked significantly for me. So in general, yes, I am looking after myself, but as I say, I've got 2 challenges. One is I sleep too little. Second thing is I spend way too many hours in terms of doing the work. Right. The second thing was all about figuring out where you are and then putting together an action plan. Let me give you some feedback on that. I checked my finances. I determined my runway. I determined my access to financial resources and figured all of that out. So that I did well. I did a couple of other things. I went and applied for jobs. That did not work. I tried LinkedIn, updating the resume, connecting to everybody and his dog, starting to connect with specific groups and networks and so forth. It did not work. So that has not worked for me. The third thing I did is I went back into the network and connected with the network. At one point in the early days, I set myself a target of 5 to 10 calls per day, which I did. That has worked very, very well. The feedback on that is that within 48 days, guys, I got on the same day indication that 2 new contracts for me are on the table. Remember, I'm a contractor. I work from project to project. I got news of 2 contracts in one day. The one contract already started on the 26th of September, which is 48 days after I started that journey. The second one is still in the balance, but it is being shaped, and that will take place probably before the end of November. So that has worked very well for me. A couple of learnings. It is not a quick process, right? You have to put in the work in order to make these things work. So just remember, LinkedIn and job searching did not work for me. The other thing that did work for me is I defined the options as I suggested in that previous video. I then chose from those options to build an internet business, and I started with that on the very first day, if not before. That has started working for me. I'm not generating an income yet, but I'll keep you posted on that one. But what I am doing is two things. I'm doing affiliate marketing, and I'm creating my own products to sell via the internet. Currently, I'm focusing on building all those assets at high speed. Okay, so that has also worked for me. So the mindset stuff, let me just give you a little bit of feedback in terms of that. That's the second important thing that I suggested you do. I started working on the mindset stuff, and today is day 63 of the affirmations that I shared with you before. So I do an affirmation once a day, and I do a reflection once a day. That has started changing my thinking. Okay, so I've become much more aware, and I've noticed a difference in my thinking. So that has most definitely worked. A couple of new things I'm now starting. I'm starting a formal gratitude practice as from tomorrow morning, which is the 16th of October. That I will give you feedback on as we go along, but I'm pretty sure that will have an impact as well. I've also started a 21-day mindset refresh or mindset improvement challenge on Friday, which means today I'm on day 3. I will give you feedback on that. And then the third thing I'm doing additionally to just the affirmations is that I have started, again, a formalized meditation practice. I've been doing that regularly, but I'm now just formalizing it, and I'm specifically focusing on meditations done by Joe Dispenza, Aaron Doughty, and the original stuff by Neville Goddard. So all of those things are the aspects that I started doing. The mindset work is really working well. The building the internet business is also working very well. So that's my little bit of feedback. There's 4 things I want to share with you just in terms of keeping going, right? There's the 4 beliefs that I shared with you in a very earlier video that I truly believe is required. The first thing is really believe that the universe has got your back. Okay. If you do the work, the universe will respond in kind. The second thing is you need to believe that this is temporary. And I've just proven to you that it is temporary. It took me 48 days, but then the next contract started kicking in. So I'm very much convinced that it will work the same for you. The second thing is that you need to believe that the next adventure, the next piece of work, the next opportunity is around the corner. That's the third belief. And the fourth belief is do not go into despair. In other words, keep your chin up. Those are the 4 things that I believe from a beliefs perspective will most definitely help you and keep you going. So I hope that helps a little bit. If you like this, if this content is valuable and useful to you, like it, subscribe, or drop me an email. There will be an email of mine in the description. Have a great day, and we'll chat again soon.